Hey everyone, today I'm going to be looking at Adobe Firefly. I just got access to the beta and it is pretty cool. So I want to take a tour with you guys, especially for those that are Adobe subscribers that have an account and have potential access to this, that are a little bit unsure and are just about to pull the trigger to try out the generative AI integration for the Adobe suite. Now, before we dive in, I want to give a shout out to Anna, who is a wonderful, talented designer that I work with. If you're watching this, I hope that this inspires you. And if you are also watching this, I hope that it inspires you. I'm really awkward, so I'm gonna stop talking now. Okay. If you don't have this and you have an Adobe account, just sign into your Adobe account and you should have the ability when you go to firefly.adobe.com to opt into the beta. Once you are given access to the beta, you'll receive it via email. This will be the home screen that you will see, and you will have the 4 different options to try out: text to image, generative fill, text effects, and generative recolor for those of you that work with vector artwork. So I think the thing that most people are excited about are the text to image and the generative fill. It's like Crayon for those of you who have used Crayon, or those of you who have used stable diffusion applications such as Midjourney. Now this is using the Adobe Photoshop stock library. So you shouldn't get into trouble in terms of copyright. However, we'll check this out later. They will say that this is the images produced for this are for non-commercial use. So you can't generate something in here, slap it on a t-shirt and sell it for $1 million, unfortunately. Otherwise I'd do that. Anyways, let's go ahead and check out the text to image. So when we go to text to image, it will come up with a screen of a bunch of different things that you can try, a bunch of different examples. But let's make an image that we want to generate. Let's say let's do an orange cat, because they are the most chaotic. An orange cat wearing a black top hat. Cool. So when we go and when we generate this, we will have a few different options. So the first is the aspect ratio. Perhaps we can wait until this does generate, and it will take a little bit of time. Ha, there we go. Oh, look. Oh my God, this is amazing. This cat. Anyway, so the first option that we have, I don't know why I chose cat. I'm going to be distracted by how cute this is. Anyways, I'll try and focus. The first thing that we have is the aspect ratio. So we have, of course, all the different aspect ratios. This is helpful for those that are, perhaps you might want to make a background for your desktop, which is super cute. The other options that you have as well. Oh, look at how cute that is. Vertical for... you know what? I feel like this is going to be one of my new phone screens. Sorry, Kevin. You're going to have to move over to this orange cat wearing a black top hat. So you have a few different options here. For your needs. Oh, this would be perfect for a phone screen. Come on, for a phone background. But let's go back to Square. Now, the different types that you have is the content types. So let's check out the 3 options. So photo, we see more photorealistic, art, and graphic, a little bit more cartoony. Now, the thing is, with photo, you can look a bit more realistic. So let's say a woman standing in front of the Eiffel Tower. And if we generate it, it should kind of look more like a photograph. In the words of Nickelback, look at this photograph. And so, yeah, there we see it looks more realistic. Now, if we want to go and edit the photo, of course, we have the options to do some generative fill. We can show something similar. So if we click show similar, we'll have potentially the same model or the same style of photo pop up. We have the ability to download the photo, of course, hard it so it goes into our gallery. This is not the same person, but it is somewhat similar. Now, I think this is super interesting and a very powerful tool for ideation. So let's change this prompt, a woman standing in front of the Eiffel Tower, to more of art content style. And with this, we will then check out the styles. So the styles are, of course, the styles of art that we have. Oh, this is so neat. Oh my gosh, come on. So for example, let's check out steampunk. We choose steampunk and then we have to click generate. Once we do that, it should pop up. Now for this, we have synthwave, vaporwave, science fiction, etc., etc., etc. So we have a lot of things that are available to us. which is pretty exciting. Now, for me, I'm not an artist, so okay. That's neat. Okay. Now, the other neat thing that I've found about this is that you can mix some of the styles together. So let's say that we like steampunk, but let's say that we want to also make it pop art steampunk. We'll go ahead and click pop art. We see it's selected, and we see that these styles have been selected down here. Let's go ahead and click generate. Come on. That's neat. I'm not an artist, so I'm like, is that pop art? Would this pass the Andy Warhol test? Anywho, let's turn this off. Now we can go to hyper-realistic, vector look, low poly, etc. Let's check out graffiti. And of course, you have all the different techniques, effects, materials, and concepts. I won't go through all of them because there are so many different combinations that this video would be like literally 30 hours long. But it is something that is so interesting that we have a lot of, this is kind of like graffiti, okay. We have a lot of options available to us. Now, of course, when it comes to the color and tone, this is another option that you can choose. So if you prefer more of a black and white, muted color, warm tones, you can do that. Now just go ahead when you have selected it, you'll notice that it will change down here, and we'll want to go ahead and press generate. And the other options as we wait is the lighting, of course, backlighting, dramatic lighting, golden hour for more warmer hues and tones, and composition. Okay, yeah, so we see a similar image, but now in black and white. Now, the other that we have is the generative fill. This one I find super interesting. You can, there's a lot of examples that you can choose from. For example, let's take out this lighthouse, and let's say a statue of a Godzilla like creature. Who knows? You know, this could be Godzilla Island. Although I feel like they don't have copyright images like Godzilla in their Photoshop stock library. So I can imagine that oh, that's neat. Okay, yeah. And then you have the options to click on the different things that it generates. Actually, I think I like the first one. I don't know about you, but I like the first one. Yeah. Go, reindeer man. Claim that island. Now, if you're not, you know, making Photoshop statues on an island, which many of you won't be, the thing that I could find it super useful for is something like, for example, changing the background of a headshot, or if you have photography of real people and you want to change the background, that would be something super interesting. So for myself, let's try this nice nifty. Who is that handsome person? Come on. So let's clear the background. Now I do appreciate that they do have this background option. So instead of subtracting all of the background, I can just go ahead and click background, and it does a pretty good job. And let's say I want to, let's say that I want to put something tech, you know, if I'm kind of a consulting AI YouTube channel, it'd be cool if my thumbnail was, you know, of circuitry. So let's say pastel blue circuitry. Did I spell that right? I hope so. So we will go ahead and click. Cool, and there we go. We do have some options. I think the first one is best. This one, it's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and I'm creeping around your computer. That's okay. Okay. So let's say that I liked the first one, and I would say, let's keep it. Let's actually go ahead and download it. Now, the interesting thing that I found is that Adobe is really all about transparency and AI. You will see this message that Adobe is committed to transparency about content generated with AI. So when downloading content, it will include content credentials with AI generated content. So this might not mean much, but when we go ahead and we download the image and we click it, we will see that there is a thing in the bottom left corner saying Adobe Firefly. So we know that it has been a generated image. And the interesting thing as well is we see the image is not for commercial use. And this is a good reminder, again, for anybody that is thinking about slapping this on a book or on a t-shirt. I'm even a bit reluctant, to be honest, to put this on my YouTube as a thumbnail. I don't monetize, but if ever, this would be an issue. So it is good to know, and I think again it's good for inspiration and ideation. Now the other thing about this, let's go ahead and clear what we've done. Cool. You'll also notice to the right-hand side of, or sorry, to the left-hand side of Generate, you will have some options. So let's again put this pastel blue circuitry. I could make it a lot more, like I'm on a pumpkin patch and there's airplanes and helicopters behind me and hot air balloons. But for the sake of complication, I won't do this. So you can choose how much of the original content would be kept. Let's say, I guess we don't want checkerboards, but I can imagine this is nice if you want to try and do this as like more of a blending. For example, if you're on, if you have a family photo or a photo of executives that are on a hill and there are people in the background, you might choose a little bit more original and just say kind of remove the people. And then also too, we have guidance strength. So this determines how closely the generated content keeps to the prompt. So we have here the original image, but let's say, we fully want it to the prompt. That means that the more creative you are, the more that you might want to, move the slider closer to the prompt. So let's see the difference and example here. That is, okay, that is pretty straightforward. So that is the generative fill option within Adobe Firefly. Now moving on, we do have the text effects. So in one option here, you enter in the text, and the other you put in the effects that you want to generate. So let's put in my name, Rob, and then let's say blue circuitry with electric chords as an outline. I have a feeling this is going to be kind of janky, but we'll see. Anywho, you see some other example prompts: flower, snake, driftwood, etc. That's nice. Oh, that's cool. That is super neat. We do see a bit of hallucination here, which we could go ahead and then just put in Photoshop and take care of it later. And yeah, we have the different font sizes, the different fit. So raw was closer, or the effects are a bit more looser around the outline, and of course the color. Cool. I can imagine this would be super neat for like forest and other imagery regarding nature. And here you have the options. Okay, so it's not entirely perfect. You see, a bit of here is missing. It is prone to hallucinate sometimes, but that's a-okay. I think, again, this is really neat, not for creating content for commercial use. It is really neat, if you have any sort of internal projects that you're doing, non-commercial products, and of course, just for ideation itself. And lastly, in the Adobe Firefly beta is the generative recolor of vector images. So let's go ahead and click this prompt. Now I think it's fine. Again, it's nice for ideation, but it's not super precise. So for example, we have this cat. Okay, cool. We can change it to blue, purple, and green. But if we want to be very specific, for example, cat is, I just copied and pasted a hex code here. If we do this, it isn't smart enough yet to actually recode and recolor with these hex codes. So it's nice, but I feel like the full functionality is not there yet. So this is it for the Adobe Firefly. I know that they are now integrating the generative fill into Adobe Photoshop, so it's really nice for designers to potentially go to the Adobe Firefly page first and just sort of kind of play around with this to understand what you can expect when these applications have been integrated fully into the Adobe suite. For example, like generative fill being in the Photoshop beta version. You can scroll down as well and see that they are releasing some neat applications as well to further extend this. For example, extending the image, 3D to image. And if you scroll down, you'll see all the future things that they are, they're looking to integrate later. So we will see when these become released. Of course, I'll play around with them. And I hope that this has been a little bit insightful, a little bit encouraging for those that have access to an Adobe account and want to play around with it. Yeah, that's all the time that we have today. Thank you so much for watching. Very much appreciated. If you like this content, go ahead and subscribe and like. And if not, that's fine. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.